Hello, this is Arlene Arnold, and I'm here with the Folks of the Week, and I'm really excited to be here with you, and we will be having some opportunities to do some color card readings or some luminary readings at the end of this time. So be sure that you put up in the comment section that you are here so that I can do a reading for you. And I really am hoping that you will also be giving me some feedback as I'm talking about some of the things that are happening right now. So let us be sure to take a few deep breaths today. Yes. And just let those shoulders fall and just feel yourself moving into this place of really being fully present, feeling like you are truly here and truly with me in this process. So we have been through some challenging days, and it has been especially interesting today. I often say that it feels like a roller coaster, you know, it's like up and down, and it feels like there are times when I know what's going on, and sometimes I don't know. Now, I want to see if I can make sure that I can see the comments. So please put something in the comments so that I can see it and know that you are here. All right, now how do I get out of there? Okay. Oh, good. Jean Bartlemy is here. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about, and Leslie's here. Hello, Leslie. What I wanted to talk about are some of the things that you may be feeling. I started out this morning feeling, oh, wow, I've got lots of energy. I don't feel like I'm aching in my body. Hi, Will. And then as I went into the day, the odd thing is that I began to feel really odd. And that as I got into the late morning, it was like my energy just dropped. And so then I spent some time taking a nap and just feeling a little bit out of sorts. So let me know what's been going on for you, if any of you are feeling that roller coaster of different emotions, different energies, different feelings that are coming up. It's really challenging sometimes, but it's also helpful to know that we're in this together. And there are things, of course, that are bringing on those kinds of energies. Some of that is what we're feeling in the collective consciousness, because there's still a lot of fear. That mostly what I have been picking up is a lot of grief, and that has to do with people that are leaving the planet. That has to do with people who are in the midst of the illness and maybe are experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of separation from their family, that kind of thing. So if you're picking up that kind of thing, you're not alone. You know, when we are highly intuitive, we tend to just feel all of that. Hi, Patty. So it's so important that we focus on what it is that we want to create. And what I find helps me the most is that when I really am okay with how I'm feeling, that really helps. So I am still working on that because I have things that I want to accomplish, and there are energies that come in, and it's like, okay, might as well say that's not going to happen today, or at least not in this time right now. It might change in the next hour, but right now it's not going to happen. So let's just see what our cards are today. I think we'll do both a color card and a luminary, and I think I've solved the problem on this particular. I was feeling like it was because I was doing this on the transformational page that was a problem, but it's not. It righted itself somehow, not because I did anything. But anyway, I'm going to pick a color card for us. So let's see here. Wow, this is interesting. So it's saying that we're in the strength of brown, nurturing, safe, and earth connected. I don't know if I always feel like that, but maybe that's kind of what we're being called, because a lot of times the strength is there, but you're not focusing on it. So I'm going to work with this and say, okay, how can I focus on the strength in brown? Let's see what are some of the other strengths in brown, just to see what that's about. Okay, so Will, yes, you feel the collective grief, the roller coaster too. I have to concentrate to avoid the feeling of getting jerked around. I am moving with my timing factors. Yeah, boy, I just was writing that I'm writing a book, and I was writing about how to move with the timing that's our unique timing. All right, here are some of the strengths in brown. I'm going to just see what it is that sends to, stability. You know, when things are really like a roller coaster, it's really nice to have some sense of stability. So here's what it says under stability for the strength in brown. Feeling at home on the earth gives you stability from which to live your life. Connecting yourself to the center of the earth gives you strength. It would take a great deal to push you away from your center or break that connection. Actually, that's really true. Hasn't always been true in my life, but I find that I am more able to connect to the center of the earth than I was in the past. And so I'm not sure anything would break me from that connection. I go through these periods when the human part of me gets frustrated. That's the part that kind of throws me off, but that never takes me out of my center. So Leslie's saying she's been on the roller coaster too. So Will is saying brown is easy to miss given certain cultural connections. Glad this one shows up now. So yes, and you know, one of the things that I've done this week, or I guess it was over the weekend, is that I went and walked in the ravine behind the house here. I live in an apartment in my daughter and son-in-law's house. I feel so grateful. And there's a beautiful ravine behind it. And afterwards, I'll put up a couple of the pictures that I took there, because to me, it's like just such a magical place. And I was just writing in this book that I'm writing about how, for me, I do better when I'm out on a walk, when I take pictures, because it's like I look at nature through a photographer's eye, and I tend to stay more centered on what's in front of me. And so if you are not feeling this kind of sense of stability through the earth, you might want to, if you can, take your shoes off and go walk on the dirt or walk on the grass, or if you have a place where you can connect with the earth. Or another thing that's coming to me is some people collect rocks, and rocks are a great way to connect with the earth. And sometimes the rocks have messages in them. So if you just hold the rock, and it doesn't have to be a special rock other than the fact that it's one that you found, and you can just hold that rock and feel how it has the sense of earth within it. So it's really there to help you feel connected to the earth. So now I'm going to pick one of the luminaries and just see what comes up for us that is kind of a companion to brown today. Well, that's interesting. That's okay. So this is presence. So it's kind of like brown is the connection to the earth, and presence is connection to the spirit. But I want to read this to you because there are some really cool things in presence that really brings us closer to understanding what it means to be fully here with that sense of presence. Before a thought can contain it, presence breathes and shifts as needed. Softly it imprints wisdom within and channels divine mind through those who are willing. So presence is the presence of spirit, the presence of the divine, the presence that is the oneness, the all. And when we experience that presence, it has its ability to kind of move and shift, just kind of like the breath. And it softly imprints wisdom within and channels divine mind through those who are willing. So it's a good presence is a good way to be in touch with that deeper part of us. So Patty says that she did that and said hello to Mother Earth. You know, it's so important for us to acknowledge Earth. Earth is working with us so much to help us shift, and Earth is evolving. We are evolving. So it's really wonderful if we can have that connection with Earth, so we feel like we are evolving together. So if you would like me to focus on a certain thing in picking cards for you, just put this in the comment section. I'm going to pick a card for purpose. This is like general purpose right now. Okay, so the general purpose is the indigo. That's interesting. Okay. So I'm going to read under purpose for us. So this means that it's a general purpose for all of humanity right now, for us to be working with our knowing, the indigo part of us. So let me get to where the purpose section is. See, I'm in indigo, and you can see that there's a section here that says life purpose. There it is. See that? Okay, and the first one it says is healing. So one part of life purpose is healing. Another one is using ancient knowledge, being a conduit, teaching, bringing in the spiritual blueprint. Boy, I'm telling you, using ancient knowledge and bringing in the spiritual blueprint really stands out for me. So using ancient knowledge, what comes through you from your past or future lives may be especially useful today. This knowledge may unveil new methods of healing people as well as the earth. It may enhance our understanding in many different areas of life. So, Will, it seems like in the modality that you're working on, that you are working with ancient knowledge, and that is the indigo. So, this can come from past or future. Sometimes we think of past lives or past things in our lives that are difficult, but also there's great understanding that can come from what we've experienced. The other one is bringing in the spiritual blueprint. Open to the energy of indigo. Bring it in through the top of your head. Make your intent to be a conduit for ideas and understanding that are coming to you from your spiritual source. Sit with this energy. Hold a place for it in your heart center. You know what? This spiritual blueprint is one that we have as a collective. We have set up a certain kind of spiritual blueprint that we're moving into. That doesn't mean that everybody is in touch with that, but it does mean that there were enough of us that were able to create kind of a guideline for where we would like to go next. So if we bring this indigo into us and make your intention to be a conduit for ideas and understanding that are coming to you from a spiritual source, you might be surprised how that fits in with your purpose and what you are here to bring forward. So just be conscious of that. So Patty says she would like a color card. She has made a decision about a medication. So we'll just see what the color card says for her. So I'm mixing them up, and let's just see what comes up for Patty. Okay, so Patty, this process you're going through is about claiming your empowerment. This is the lesson in yellow, which doesn't mean that you're not, I mean, it still may mean that you're using your clarity and your intuition, because notice the color that is the complement for yellow is the violet purple. So let's just look at the lessons of yellow, but Claim Your Empowerment seems pretty close to what that's about for you, because I know, Patty, it's been a difficult decision to decide what to do about something that you've taken for a while. So an overall understanding of the lesson in yellow is this: when yellow becomes muddy, insecurity sets in. Lack of clarity, misuse of intelligence and power, hiding information, and acting jealous can result. This can come about through a shaky foundation in the first chakra. So I think insecurity is one of the things that sometimes happens when we're trying to make a decision. Now, let me just see. The rest of it doesn't seem to fit, Patty. I think it's more about empowerment, because I know that that's something that you've been moving toward. And so making this decision is empowering because you're making the decision, because you're deciding what your body needs. And that's really important. That's empowering. And as you're doing that, be sure that you're using the violet purple, which is your intuition, which I know that you're attempting to do that, and that will help you to feel more empowered, because you know it's coming from that deeper place inside of you. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you, Jeannie, just to see what we've got for you today. And it feels like it's a color card for you. So let's just see what we've got for Jeannie. This is for Jeannie. Oh, 2 came up. So Jeannie, yours is the Strength in Brown. Nurturing, safe, and earth connected. Cool. And it's the Strength in Orange. Sensual, alive, present, and happy. So, Jeannie, let us know if that feels right to you, or is it something that your inner guidance has said, focus on the strength that comes from brown, the connection to the earth, and focus on how much you have been clearing up emotional baggage, leaving you able to be more in the present and able to feel more alive. Let me know if that fits for you or not. Okay, so let's see. Leslie, I feel like I want to pick a luminary for you. So let's see what's coming in the luminaries for you. A luminary for Leslie. Oh. Okay, so this is one of my favorites because it has so much meaning for me. This one's called Vortality. So notice that it has, it just has so much of colors in it, so much connections. Wow, there's so much to it. Oh, Jeannie says, I just came from a walk in the woods. Nature has been holding me so much during this time. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so that's part of your strength in the brown. All right, so Leslie, let's see what Vortality says to you today. That's on page 28. Form is becoming less solid. It now changes as is needed. Allow this organic movement in your life. Amazing beauty and pure delight will follow. Oh my goodness, aren't we working on that? It's like, it just in the stuff I was writing before I came on the air, is I was writing about this whole idea of movement, and organic movement is really an important part of it. I was talking about authentic movement. But authentic movement is also very connected to organic movement in my way of understanding it. And amazing beauty and pure delight will follow. So part of what happens that Vortality helps us with is Vortality helps us to see the places where we may not be using our organic movement, but we kind of get stuck in old fears or old things that stop us. And that's frustrating. And yet, as we notice them, this allows us to send love to the part of us that's still stuck, to surround it with love, to surround it with a color. And so I'm thinking, maybe the color here that we want to focus on this is, it's kind of that grounded peachy color. That peach has always meant for me staying in the present moment, but what it's also saying here is stay grounded in the present moment. And then let all of that pure delight come forward as you stay grounded in the present moment. Because what happens is when we get worried about something, or we start moving too fast, or whatever that is, or worrying about things, then we lose the present moment. Okay, so Leslie says right on point. All right, Will, let's see. Is it a color? I think for you, Will, it's a purpose card today. Let's see what that's about. Well, are we surprised you got green last week? So let's just see what the purpose one is in green that might be there for you, Will. Let's see. Well, the one that stands out for me, Will, for you is lover of life. Whatever you do, wherever you are, you offer open-hearted love to all. You celebrate life. You gain strength from the vitality and beauty of growing things around you. This attitude helps to heal the earth and people alike. Others will be drawn into this positive energizing force you exude. So I'm going to suggest, Will, that you find that section in green in the purpose part, the lover of life. And what I'm seeing is you might want to type it out and put it up where you can put it in front of you and really take that in. On some level you already know this, but what I'm feeling is there's some part of you that kind of doubts that. So I'm thinking that if you had this in front of you, it's more about absorbing the knowing of who you are and what that's about in your life purpose. So, that really feels good. Okay, so let's just pull a card for, let's pull a card that is, what can we hold for the people that are still so worried and so distracted by all the things that are going on. Let's just see what can we do for them. Okay, so here it is. The lesson is embrace the possibilities, banish fear. Well, banish fear. That's sort of like, that's easier said than done when you're in the middle of it. But we have to use our tools to banish fear. But let's just see if there's anything else here. Well, I know. Let's do the healing. Let's do the healing exercise for Black. And as we're doing this, let's just do this for everybody around the world that is having a hard time, or that is afraid, or has a lot of fear going. And as we embrace this process, that will send it out through the ethers, and others can embrace it with us. So you can leave your eyes open, or you could close your eyes as we do this. So take another deep breath. And just allow yourself to be present with you. Now imagine that you are in a safe place. Invite your guardian angel or some spiritual figure to join you there. So feel that safe space and invite a being of some kind that would feel right in your space with you. Now, when you feel completely comfortable, ask your shadow side to come to this place. Now, many of us have been working on the ways in which we get stuck, and that's what's considered the shadow side. So just any part that is still in the shadows, just let it come forward and be with you. And then when it arrives, ask it to tell you about itself. So just be with it. Feel what's going on. Listen. And you're just listening with total compassion. And then ask yourself, what has it come to teach you? And then ask it to show you all of the possibilities that it brings you. So if it's come to teach you, there are all kinds of possibilities that this part of us brings us. And then ask if this shadow side would be willing to help you by shifting into another color. So it's come in black, and black is all the colors of the human being in form as a human. So see if it shifts into another color. And if it shifts into another color, consider what that means. And after we close this, you might want to sit and journal about what came up with that color. And if you have the color card book, go to the color that came up and read about it. So the color I'm seeing is yellow. So Patty, this would be another one for you, because making the decision that you're making is requiring you to move into more clarity in the yellow. So the black can, for example, be the uncertainty, and as it shifts, it may shift into yellow, which means that you are coming into greater clarity and more empowerment, more sense that you have the ability and the right to make the decisions for yourself. So if you'd like, so Jeannie, you saw yellow also. Isn't that interesting? So I'm just going to go to yellow and see if there's something else here in the strengths that might give us some clue about this. But that maybe yellow is really up for all of humanity now to be moving into the empowerment, which I think is really true, because the more we see how much we've been pulled around into somebody else's idea of what needs to go on, the more we're going, I don't think so. So one of the strengths is empowerment of self. So here's what we're moving into. You are clear about who you are. You accept your abilities as part of you. You accept your lessons as the work you came to do in this life. Even when others suggest that you need to change, you are not thrown off course. You trust your inner knowing. You trust the truth that comes through your heart. So Patty saw lavender and yellow. Okay, so again, that is that intuition and that sense of empowerment of self. So that's really cool. That's perfect. And I think this is really good. Oh, good. Well, yellow came first and then magenta. And that's really a good combination, because, you know, magenta is compassion. So as we move into greater and greater clarity, it's really important not to go into blame. It's really important to stay in compassion and just realize that people do the best they can given what they know and who they are and the experiences they've had in this life. And I always follow that by saying, of course, that doesn't mean that you allow others to take advantage of you. It just means that you can stay in that place of compassion within you as you recognize the changes that are going on. So Leslie got turquoise. So turquoise is a really good one for this as well, because when you embrace, remember this is what we got, embrace the possibilities, banish fear. So when you banish the fear, you open yourself to being able to come from this part of you that's right here below the throat. And in the turquoise, it's saying, step up to the next level of your purpose. So it's really important as we banish fear to recognize that that's part of stepping up to a new sense of who we are. Hi, Karen. Karen just tuned in. All right, so let's just get a card for Karen since she's here with us today. So, Karen, I'm going to pick a color card for you. We were just doing a general card for everyone. Well, guess what? It's turquoise. And it's the strength in turquoise, self-responsible, full of integrity, purposeful. So, Karen, that just means that you are in the next step of who you are. So it's just owning up to that and standing in that and being okay with that. So she says she's doing more and more turquoise these days. That's great. So just know that that's part of what is there for us. You know, it's what it means when we are evolving. It's stepping up to the next step. To me, it's like a spiral. You know, we've been on this one spiral, and now when we're ready, we just start moving up to the next spiral. And that next spiral shows us what our next contribution is here on Earth. So how cool is that? And that means that, Karen, that you are in the process of moving up to that next level of who you are and what you're about here. So anybody have any questions that you might want to ask that we can work with today? Maybe just about things that are happening for you or something that you would just like to know more about. And I'm just running through my mind questions that people have had recently. Someone that I was working with was trying to make some decisions. I think this is really a big time for decisions for us. And it's really important as we're making decisions to do it out of the empowerment. We have old programming that says we need to please other people. And when you're pleasing other people, sometimes your own calling, your own sense of your empowerment gets put on the back burner. So that's not what we want to do now, but we can stay in that magenta that Will got, and that magenta can have us have compassion for ourselves, have compassion for others, and then dig deeper into, okay, what is the right decision to make here? And then once you've made the decision, trust, because you know, the decision you make in this moment may lead you to the next decision. So it's not like that decision, yes, it has certain things that it then sets up, but you still have the ability to choose all the way along. Okay, so Patty says, you said last week we were at a turning point. Do you still think that? Oh, yes, very, very much so. Yeah, I feel like the biggest problem is that this turning point is going to be going on for a while. So we're only going to see it in small steps. And that's frustrating because we'd like to say, okay, yeah, let's just have everything over from now on. Let's be in the next step right now. But I would encourage you, Patty, to look for the very small steps that you see. And is there even one step that you might suggest that you've seen that shows you that we are moving to a new place, that this is a turning point? So Will says, I've been following the colors with the book, and every time I flipped to the page when I saw 57, life purpose, green, exactly the section you chose for me. It is amazing, isn't it? We're on the same wavelength. That's what it's going to be like more and more. And we just pick things up. That's, I don't work at it anymore. I really let it go. And I always know there's some reason for whatever it is that comes up. But I have no expectations or assumptions about it. Yay, that's taken a long time to get to that point. So any other questions anybody else has? And I'm waiting for Patty to tell us what anything that she noticed that would be a turning point. Well, any of you, what have you noticed that it would be an indicative of a turning point that we're coming to? I'll think about it too, see what else I see. I think one of the things that I see as a turning point is that people are being very inventive. They're like coming up with solutions, and different companies are working on some of the problems that are there. And I don't know, it just feels like we're using our ability to find solutions in a more focused way, because it's kind of how it is. What is it they say that, what is it that's the mother of invention? It has to do with the things that happen, give us that petri dish in which inventions come about. So I see that as part of the turning point. So I don't see anybody else that has put anything up about that, but sometimes there's a delay here. So let me think of anything else that I've noticed. I noticed opportunity. Okay, so Jeannie says opportunity, and Karen says necessity. Yeah, I think opportunity is really there when we are really grounded and inside of us. And Leslie says necessity. Yeah, it's and people seem to largely that they're pretty sober right now. Yeah, it's true. And then Patty says, I made 2 big decisions. Many countries are working on a vaccine. Yeah. So just, Patty, when you see that you actually made the decisions and you're living with those decisions, that is part of what I think is going to happen for everybody. We're going to be making decisions. And that's why it's so important for us to stay alert and present, so that our decisions come from what is happening within our spirit, and not from fear. And that many countries are working on a vaccine, and I think that cooperation between the countries is really important. If there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, I think that, and I hope that we can see it as a divine will, not the human will, because sometimes we force things. And when we move into divine will, that brings more of a sense of we're doing it for the larger picture. So Jeannie says people have let go of non-essentials, and I notice more eye contact and smiling, even at 6 to 12 feet apart. I think that's a beautiful one, Jeannie. I really have seen that too. Yeah, non-essentials, it's sort of like my grocery list is, what is it I really need? And I found this wonderful, I'd found it before, but I'm really enjoying this little store that's called the Corner Store. And I can go in there, and at the most there will be one other person in there. They have fresh vegetables. They have a lot of the things. They have eggs that come from the people that have chickens within the area, so they're all really fresh. So I love going there, and they kind of know me now, and it's always nice to have people say hello and they actually have seen you before. And so that is really one of my joys, is that I can do my shopping there. And then most of what I don't get there, I can get online. But also my grandson and my family have been buying whatever I need. And Karen says people are more patient. Yes, I believe that is true. So will is force, intent is power. Yes, no, yeah. Will by his name is not force, and intent is power. Yes, I think that's part of what we're learning is we don't override, but we come from an internal intention, and that begins to move the energy toward what it is that we really desire. Well, we could go on and on. This is fun. But I think we'll finish for today, and I'll be back on next Tuesday at 3 p.m. And please invite your friends and come back, and we'll have a good time. I'm so grateful for everybody here and how much you've participated. That makes it a whole lot more fun. All right, until next week, love you all. Be sure and go to our website, transformationaltools.com. And Jeannie will leave with yours. People seem more grateful, and it's not just mouthing gratitude. There's a feeling behind it. Hallelujah. Amen. Yes. All right. Until next time. Bye, everybody.